Hey Aries, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. If I don't catch your storyline or wavelength on this one, go ahead and check your other major placements. I'm not actually going to be doing an extended over on Vimeo at this point today, but I will have something else available on Vimeo starting on Sunday. I have done a series of the major arcana. You'll be able to rent or purchase individual videos. They're about 15 minutes to 20 minutes long, or you can do the whole series. They'll be available for pre-sale right now, and I'm going to be connecting them to the Kabbalah and our little Kabbalah tree of life and the chakras and where they all fall in those placements. And we'll be exploring several different decks to figure out, to just see how different decks pull out different aspects of the essential meaning of each card. So we're gonna do a traditional tarot spread over here. No, we'll do one little prayer for you at the end from my oracle decks, but otherwise a more traditional tarot spread. From the bottom of the deck, overall for the reading, we have Awakening. This is number 20. This is the second to the last card of the major arcana. And we're talking about realizations, understanding, being able, learning from the past, learning from past experiences. There's might be an epiphany. It's a really big epiphany moment, something that you're seeing in your understanding. This is sort of the reveal, or judgment is how it's often called. So you could be getting grades back about something similar to that, as far as like having evaluated something that's already completed and already been mostly done, and getting that information back from an event, right? We want to be able to mine our experiences in this life for as much wealth of information and wisdom as possible. We don't want to overmine them. We don't want to rehash and ruminate, but we do need to be taking wisdom out of things that have already happened. So I'm using the Muse deck, and for whatever reason, the Muse deck always reminds me of Aries. So having realizations, understandings, learning from the past. So overall, it's more of a, there can be some internal judgment, some internal thinking about, what's happened, or there can be some external decisions being made too. So past, present, inner landscape, what's the issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Yeah, I see some internal work here, but it's the external that's prompting it. In your recent past, you have 5 of inspiration. So this is some sort of, or 5 of wands, a competitive process, something that's been, it's usually very competitive, but in this one in particular, I'm seeing people not wanting to see the world through another point of view. And people not wanting, so this could be you or somebody else. There could be disagreements, there could be conflict. There's not a lot of self-reflection going on in this conflict, which is interesting because we have this all about reflection and self-reflection and personal development and learning from our experiences. But here we have this experience where there might have been very different strategies, very different ways of viewing the world and interacting with the world, but some of these parties, or some part involved refusing to reflect, or refusing to see the world in a different way. And there's just so many different ways to be, so many different ways to see things and interact with the world. But there may have been like a situation where people were kind of stuck in, stuck in a place that wasn't very vibrant, wasn't very nurturing, and almost an inability to, or refusal or whatever, to step through into a better place, into a better world, which could have happened through, which would have happened through some sort of introspection here. So we have this sense of people being stuck in their perspectives, everyone having a very different perspective, but not really wanting to sort of stuck in some sort of competition, or stuck in some sort of I don't want to say unhealthy, but unhealed place. It wasn't very vibrant, a not very vibrant place, and not really wanting to see other perspectives. So this can be like competition, right? Because on competition, we're on our side. right? We have to be on our side, and they have to be on their side, right? So there might have been a bit of a competitive environment, but people were very, very different. When we're in a competitive environment, we have to be on our own side, right? But that also means that we're not able to, it can feel dangerous if you're in a competitive environment. It can feel very dangerous to see the world from your opponent's eyes. It's not, right? We can all do thought experiments for like 5 minutes at a time where we're not, you can step into someone else's shoes. You can put a timer on too and just be like, well, I'm going to look at the world through how they might see the situation. But it looks like that wasn't really part of what people were engaging in right here. Current situation, though, you're really hopeful for the future. You have a vision for the future. So you've come out of some sort of competitive situation or some sort of, I want to say, barren, a situation in which you weren't seeing the world through other people's eyes. But right now we have the 3 of inspiration. So this is seeing where something can go. And it's typically a very hopeful card of being able to see something in the distant future. So you may have a very distant goal. You may have something that you're trying to accomplish and achieve, or something you'd like to see happen pretty far in the future, though. And you're starting to see it happen. You're starting to see it unravel. Here, and you're starting to see things. You maybe even have done something to help create movement, but there's a lot of forward movement, and you're pretty sure you can see where this all goes. And it's typically a very hopeful card. Again, it's in the inspiration suit, the wand suit. We have a lot of wands here, so there could be some sort of spiritual growth here, which we're also getting from this insight here, or awakening, some sort of spiritual growth here. But you are starting to see the bigger picture. You do see a bigger picture now, and you have a goal, or you have something, and you've actually like initiated the action, and now there's kind of this sense of the universe needing to come towards you, or just the cascade of actions coming forward and moving forward. And if all goes well, you can kind of predict where this might go. So, you seem very happy. Maybe a little, I don't want to say smug, but a little, maybe some of you are a little smug. There is a sense, of, you see where you're at right here. And you can envision where it can go, where it's going in the future. You're not necessarily seeing the future, but you're seeing movement here, and it looks really good. What's on your mind, your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, the Sun card. You're hoping for clarity. You're hoping for a vision. You're also hoping, and with this sitting next to 3 of inspiration, you're hoping, right, her solar plexus is very much alive here, very much about like who you are, how you identify, your self-perceptions, your sense of power in the world, all of that, and bringing that actually into the world here. So we have the Sun card. If you want, let's just check a look at our, I've got this right here still. So our Sun card sits right here between the School of Hard Knocks and actually making something happen. So it's part of creation, it's part of creating something, whereas our Judgment card is down here. It's more part of evaluating something that's already come through. Like right here, it's already emerged into reality. And so here we have our sacrum, here we have the solar plexus, and the Sun sits between the solar plexus and the sacrum. So it's about our ability to create, and it's about bringing something important within us into the world. So the Sun card is about fruition. It is 19. It's the final fruition. So this is like turning in the paper. This is like getting the grade back. So you'd like to like bring something into its fullness. You'd like to see something very clearly, see it in reality very clearly, what you've been envisioning, right? And we even have her head sort of mimicking up here. There's a shadow here, right? Because we can't have sun without shadows. Even in the middle of the day, we do have a bit of a shadow in the brightest daylight. So you'd like to have some clarity, like to see something in fruition, and coming with this is your hope, is that you bring something into the fullness of what it can be. Like the baby arrives, the thing happens, and everything's clear. Like especially this one has, both of these actually have a lot of not looking at something, and this is wanting to look at something, wanting to see something very clearly. And here you have a lot of hope for that clarity, a lot of hope for something to come to fruition, especially because it's going to like tickle your solar plexus right here and make you feel really good about who you are and what you can accomplish in the world. But we have like coming from this place where no one was wanting to look at something, and now we're wanting to look at. So you may have come out. You may be very hopeful that you've come out of a competitive process victorious, and wanting to see something happen. And so what's the issue here is 9 of materials. So you may be feeling a lack of money, a lack of success, that things haven't really come together, that you need other people, or that you need something else. You're still missing something in order to bring this all together, in order to bring something to full fruition. You're still missing something with this 9 of materials. So this would be, our sole proprietor. So maybe you've had a business that failed. Maybe you were, a business owner, and it was a very competitive field. And I don't see you necessarily having quit whatever project this is. It's just like it's not succeeding. But you do have a vision. You do have a way forward. You do have an idea of how something can move forward and how you can get towards where you want to go, towards this vision, and bring something to fruition. But this may have been like our nine of materials to me is always like the widow Clicquot. She had this business, and she made it thrive in the upright. So a not thriving in the material realm right now, right? It is 9 in materials, and something hasn't come to completion. Something isn't succeeding. You haven't hit some sort of milestone. You may have set some goals for yourself and you haven't hit them in the material. You're very hopeful that you can, but you haven't. They haven't materialized. This inspiration, you're inspired, you're excited, you have a vision, you have an idea of what you want to see happen, but it's not been happening in reality. You sort of missed some sort of goal or some sort of benchmark or something like that. And you're not right. She in the upright, she's like, yeah. You are not. You are more like plummeting to the ground a little bit here. I don't see an exalted leap of joy at completion. I see more like look, she almost looks like she's falling. So there could be some sort of slipping away of financial security or something like that. In your environment, we have another 9, which is really interesting. We have 2 3s and 2 9s. That's actually pretty significant there. 3s are pretty solid. And it's, 3 to the power of 2 here. So, 9 of inspiration in your environment. You have to keep doing something. Your environment is telling you that you have to keep going somewhere. You have to keep doing. You can't give up. 9 of inspiration is very uninspired. The inspiration has about run out, right? We start with the Ace of inspiration, a lot of inspiration, and then we've have 3 of inspiration, still a lot of vision, a lot of looking to the future. 9 of inspiration is we're just about done with our inspiration. We don't have a lot of inspiration left in us. We've already been through a long journey. It's been a long trip, and we want to give up on something, especially since this isn't working out. There's like a sense of really wanting to give up, but you can't. You actually can't give up on something that you started here. So either you or somebody else just wants to give up, isn't really into it. Heart's not in it anymore. This might be someone else because you're feeling inspired about something, but maybe it's not this thing. Maybe it's something else that you're like this thing, something's not working out. You have a vision for the future, but something's not working out. So maybe this is the thing that you're thinking about quitting, is whatever's not working out or has you feeling like you're in a financial free fall here, or some sort of time free fall. Time is slipping away, perhaps you might be feeling, and there's something that you have to keep doing, even though you want to quit. You're kind of over it. Or maybe someone else is over it. This is your environment. So it could be how someone else is feeling, or how the situation is like, it's kind of worn out. It's novelty, the excitement, whatever. It's just, there might be some situation here where it's not necessarily the one you're feeling excited about. It could be the one that's like not going anywhere, and where time feels like it's slipping, or money feels like it's slipping out of your hands. But there is something that's gotten a little old and you might not be interested anymore. It's sitting underneath this 5 of inspiration. So it could be sort of this competitive thing, that you're just not, you don't want to do it anymore, but for some reason you might be feeling like you're stuck here, that you have to keep competing and keep staying in this place, right? We're in a desert in both of these, and you kind of have to keep going, keep walking through the desert. Even though it looks like you finished, it looks like you went through this like finish line here, this whole finish line thing, but you still have to keep going, even though like there's the finish line, I went, and now it's like the marathon's over, and now you like have to walk home, which seems like not fair. Like this whole marathon, right? If you were competing with others, this whole marathon happened, and then now after the marathon, you have to keep going for some reason, even though you finished some sort of finish line. You got somewhere, but you're running out of mojo here, but you can't stop because like you need to take a nap at home, so you can't stop. You have to keep going further than what you thought you wanted to. Your to-do list is basically just like feel your feelings. There's a lot under the surface here. Whatever's come up here, this like loss, this financial loss, or this loss of time, or this sense of stuff slipping away, and it's like combined with this hope. There's like a hope for something while something else is slipping away, and you have to keep doing something even though you don't want to. I think this is possibly where some epiphanies might come in about this situation, you know, this competitive, not very exciting place, or not necessarily competitive, but just like the situation in which people aren't able to see the world through other perspectives. And you have to keep going in that. But I think some of the inspiration that you might get, like this is all about looking back on something. And the queens are very internal, right? She's mostly submerged under the surface. So looking at yourself, looking at the situation under the surface, perhaps like you're needing a new perspective, and you need to look through someone else's window here, or possibly your own, into the surface. But it's mostly about looking at also these feelings are going to be coming up too. I don't think like you have to do much diving. They're going to be coming up to the surface. And I think that you like it. You a little bit like having these feelings come up, right? Especially since they're coming up all on their own, and you don't have to go diving for them. They're emerging up on their own, and you're ready to meet them halfway. You're ready to start looking at some feelings and some stuff that you maybe have buried under the surface, especially in a situation like this, where you're not able to like have you're not able to, you know, just display, like it feels unsafe. This 5 of inspiration, since no one's looking at the world through other perspectives, you can't either, because it doesn't feel very safe here. And you still have to keep going, but there's a sense of you could be a little more private about your explorations, but they're coming up. And I think you are ready to look at them, ready to meet them halfway. There might be messages coming up that trigger some feelings and some emotions, especially if this is like a sense of failure here, or of fear of things slipping away. So the Queen of Emotions, this is just being very much in touch with your own feelings. Knowing how you feel. And I don't see that you necessarily have to communicate how you feel. It might not feel safe to communicate how you feel, but it's just, I would say it's time for a bit of a deep dive, an internal deep dive into your feelings. Get in your feelings. Because they want to meet you. They're kind of excited to be seen. I know that sounds funny, but I think your feelings want to be seen. They want to be kind of played with and kind of handled and paid attention to. They're beautiful. A lot of them are very beautiful feelings that you're going to find down there. You do need to explore your feelings with a sense of unconditional love for yourself. Make sure, because it becomes smashing and crashing, like, all right, fishies or feelings down here, tell me what you have. they're going to run away, right? So we want to be really gentle and really calm, or, their feelings. So we want, as we explore these, right, there's a sense of calmness here. So one part of you can remain calm as you're exploring some of your more flighty feelings. There might be a sense of needing to cling to something. There might be a sense of emptiness in certain places. You might find a surprising lack of drive in some places where you're used to having drive. You might find a sense of flightiness here, that skittishness. Some of your feelings might be very skittish. Some of them might be very strong and grasping. You'll see when you go down there, you'll see some growth. You'll see how easily you go with the flow. That parts of you are strong and solid and immovable, and other parts of you move very easily. That's what I see. So you're going to do some journaling. You're going to do some maybe listening to music. You're going to go feel some things. Go on a field trip. That's what I'm thinking. Not a field trip, but a field trip. Go on a field trip and feel some things. Feel what you're feeling. It's important. It's important. The tarot is telling you, feel what you're feeling. You might be surprised. You might learn a lot from these feelings, right? Like a field trip. It'll be fun. It'll be a step away from the classroom, a step away from how you're used to learning something. So go for a field trip. That's what we're saying. Three of Voices. There's some sadness. What you find on this field trip might be a little bit sad, might be a little bit heartbreaking. There's like continued isolation here. Like you're going on this field trip by yourself, and you may end up needing to sort of deal with some past heartbreak, especially from this situation. And this situation, you might have to, this can just be disappointment. There can be some disappointment, and that might be one of the feelings that really comes up, especially if we're dealing with sort of this like slippage, or this something slipping away, something that felt like it was certain and sure, slipping away, time or money or something like that. I'm telling you to feel, and then here's what we're feeling. Where's something that might come up. But there might be some sadness, some disappointment. I think it's really like we're crying here. Like even the door is crying. But there's a sense, though, of this truth needing to come in. Look at these awakenings and these understandings and these clarities like piercing through. This clear understanding. So this awakening, understanding, it's here to help you. It's here to bring in a lot of truth. But there might be some difficulty with it. It might be... Right, I find it so interesting that this door... and just exists. There's this shadow here, and you're choosing to stay within that shadow for a period of time to really process something. There's so much hope for the future, and you want to see something clearly, right? Your hope and dream, you're internally, you want to see something clearly. That's what you want. And then you got to go on the trip to see something clearly. And what you might see very clearly is something that's actually a little bit sad or disappointing. But I think that this is all in part of this awakening and this understanding. So if you want to go for that trip, that field trip, be aware it's not going to be all sun and games. It's not going to be all sun and games. You're going on a field trip and you're looking for clarity. This is something that you want. You want clarity. And maybe you want clarity on why this isn't working or why this failed or something. Maybe you want clarity on what was going on here. And maybe when you are the one that chooses to see through out of this reality into someone else's reality, or see through someone else's window, or see something, when you're willing to do that, is that the clarity that you want? You might not enjoy it very much. This is not a fun situation, right? So you may have some heartbreaking to do, or some heartbreak to do, or just some disappointments. It's just three of Voices. It's not. But some truths may come in. Like you want these truths. Like I see two cards of truth and clarity, and I see them causing a little bit of a pinch here. This is going to pinch a little bit. Are you willing to do this? That's what That's what we're asking. Are you willing to go on this field trip and learn something? You want to learn this, though. All right, and a little prayer for my little Aries. Wise walrus. This is something we're asking the universe for. Wise walrus. Intensity. Yeah, there's a lot of intensity here for sure. This is an intensifier of this, right? The truth and the clarity is going to definitely intensify some sadness. You might just be experiencing some sadness, and this is something you need to experience. Attentiveness, we're definitely being attentive. Ferocity, okay, ferocity. Gleaming tusks, this is a walrus. So your wisdom, right? You're gaining wisdom here. And being willing to engage in disappointments, being willing to look at them very honestly and clearly is a very beautiful skill. Definitely, like, I would put parentheses around this. If you're going on this kind of deep dive, I put some parentheses around this. You're not going to stay like this forever. You don't have to continuously explore this for time immemorial. It's a time period, right? Put some parentheses around it. This is a time period where you're going to take some time out and go on a field trip. Gleaming tusks like slivered moons. Oh, I like how the moon's showing up here. As far as intuition and feelings. Show me strength through gentle means. Oh gosh, I love that. Strength through gentle means. So, and this is a lot of strength here. Coming in and being very gentle with this whole process. All right, Aries, I hope that that's helpful for you. I know you Aries. Oh, I love how the sun is coming in here. Even though you're not Leo, you're Aries. It is fiery. It is, and there's a lot of wands here. So I find that interesting too with this fire sign, Aries. We have the sun here. There's a lot of you here, right? Your card didn't necessarily show up, but there is a lot of you here. So strength through gentle means. So the fire signs can be a little intense, but we're gentling it. We want to be very gentle. And that's what I see here. And I feel like you're ready to look at something. You're ready to see something. You're going to meet it halfway. All right. So I hope that that was helpful, and we'll talk again soon.